The fallout from the Epstein files has sent another shockwave through the British establishment. Former ambassador to the US Peter Mandelson has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. He's seen here being led away by police from his home in North London. Police previously searched 2 properties linked to Mandelson in Wiltshire and North London earlier in February over suggestions that he passed market-sensitive government information to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Let's take you live to London. Al Jazeera's Charlie Angela is in Westminster. What more can you tell us, Charlie, about the arrest?
Yes, well, everyone here in the UK has probably now seen those pictures of Mandelson being led away from his central London home by police. The property was being staked out by a news outlet who seems got lucky. So it comes after police carried out searches on 2 properties belonging to Mandelson, looking, as you say, for documents relating to allegations that Mandelson passed on sensitive information that could have moved markets to his close friend Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted paedophile, in 2009. Now, this was when Mandelson was at the heart of the Labour government under Tony Blair, at a time when governments were looking for bailouts. He would have been in discussions with European counterparts as well. And it looks like documents would have been seized during those searches, and that might now be what the arrest has been based on. Now, Mandelson has denied any wrongdoing, and he has expressed his regret for his close friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, but his fall from grace has been absolutely seismic. Just last year, this man was the US ambassador, the UK ambassador to the US. He was sharing jokes with President Donald Trump in the Oval Office. And he has been at the heart of the Labour government for decades and has had a pretty Teflon-resistant career. He has had to resign twice, but both times he has bounced back. He was made a Lord, but he has now had to resign from the House of Lords and lost his title. So we will wait to hear what police reveal, to see how long he's questioned for as well, how long he will be held. But this is going to be a huge blow for Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who has really had to come back fighting and defend his appointment of Peter Mandelson, which he has now said he didn't know the extent to which Mandelson maintained his ties with Jeffrey Epstein. But it has been a huge blow to Keir Starmer, and this arrest is just going to add fuel to the fire. What
are the likely political ramifications going to be, Charlie, particularly, as you say, with the pressure right now on Prime Minister Keir Starmer?
Well, we do know that they were discussing in Parliament today when new tranches of information relating to the appointment of Mandelson will be released. We understand that the government has been cooperating with the police in their investigations and handed over all relevant documents. But as you know, it has been within his own party. He has garnered support, but outside his party, calls for his resignation. But it's not just in the political establishment that we're getting repercussions. Of course, the former Prince Andrew, Lord Mountbatten, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, excuse me, we're getting used to his new title, is still under suspicion. We understand that Metropolitan Police today were speaking to his former protection officers who, it emerged, were asked to guard Andrew while he dined with Jeffrey Epstein in 2010, and they have been brought in for questioning. At the same time, former civil servants have also come forward anonymously, giving information that when Andrew was trade envoy to the UK, he was filing unnecessary and excessive expenses, including charging for personal massages, charges that would have ultimately been passed on to the taxpayer. And while there's no evidence of any criminal wrongdoing, that will have to be assessed, it does paint an incredibly unfavourable picture. But the message, really, both from the palace and from the Prime Minister, is that nobody is above the law, and that these investigations will have to run their course.
Charlie Angela reporting live from London. Many thanks, Charlie. Well, Peter Mandelson's arrest is the latest fallout from the Epstein files, a trove of documents linked to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Al Jazeera's Camille Nedelec reports.
Once a cornerstone of British politics, Peter Mandelson has had a tumultuous career. His last major appointment was as the UK's ambassador to the United States.
I'd like to have that accent. Thank you. My mother would be proud.
Mandelson was fired after allegations linking him to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Documents released by the US Department of Justice appear to show Mandelson shared confidential government information with Epstein, including memos on the state of the British economy in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis and the prospect of an EU bailout. Information he had access to during a decades-long career in the British government and as EU Trade Commissioner. Those revelations shook the government of Keir Starmer, leaving the UK Prime Minister fighting for his political life, as he tried to justify how and why he appointed a man who many believe should not have passed a background check.
At the time I appointed him, I got answers from him which I believed to be true. He painted a picture of barely knowing Epstein.
If he's charged and found guilty, Mandelson could be sentenced to life in prison, although convictions for misconduct in UK public office are rare. Camille, Nedelec, Al Jazeera.
Jonathan Tonge is a professor of politics at the University of Liverpool and a specialist on British and Irish politics. He joins us now live from Manchester. Good to have you with us, Professor. Seismic, our correspondent, called it. What's your reaction to the arrest of Peter Mandelson?
I think the arrest of Peter Mandelson was almost inevitable, given the arrest last week of the former Prince Andrew, now Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, because all the evidence we have to date is that Peter Mandelson was even closer to Jeffrey Epstein than was Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. I mean, Peter Mandelson was writing to Jeffrey Epstein when he was in prison and saying what an injustice it had been, the imprisonment of Jeffrey Epstein. And we do have some evidence via emails that shows that Peter Mandelson was passing on some aspects of cabinet governance to Jeffrey Epstein. There's some particular emails that deal with that. For example, he was advising him that the government was going to sell £20 billion of assets. He was advising on tax issues relating to the UK government. And Peter Mandelson encouraged the head of JP Morgan, a major American firm, to get in touch with the Chancellor, the UK Chancellor, to oppose bankers' taxes on bankers' bonuses. So there are those pieces of evidence. I think it was almost inevitable that police would at least make inquiries over what Peter Mandelson has been up to.
As we've been hearing, Jonathan, Mandelson was one of the most consequential political operators of the new Labour era. I mean, how politically significant is it to see someone of his stature being arrested like this?
I think it's hugely politically significant because it shows bad judgment on the part of Tony Blair initially, who appointed Peter Mandelson, and Peter Mandelson had to quit cabinet twice because he was involved in controversies. Gordon Brown then made or helped make Peter Mandelson a member of the House of Lords, so it reflects badly upon his judgment. And it certainly reflects badly upon the judgment of Keir Starmer as the current Prime Minister, because it's only a few months ago that Keir Starmer was, and I quote, declared he had full confidence in Peter Mandelson as the UK ambassador to the United States, arguably the most important ambassadorial posting that there is. It was under pressure from the leader of the opposition, Camille, that Keir Starmer began to row back from that. And now Keir Starmer says that Peter Mandelson lied to him. But surely the vetting of Peter Mandelson before he was given such a key appointment should have been far, far, far more thorough. We'll now see whether the UK police are more thorough in their investigations of Peter Mandelson.
What about the electorate? Given his history at the heart of government and the governing Labour Party, what are the immediate political ramifications of this arrest? What could it mean for Labour electorally? And you mentioned Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Could this bring him down?
Possibly, although I think that Keir Starmer has now sufficiently distanced himself from Peter Mandelson to avoid that. But I think the electorate will take a dim view of the Prime Minister's judgment in ever bringing Peter Mandelson into such a key post. And it might make those electoral tests that loom for Keir Starmer that much more difficult. He's got a very difficult by-election, Keir Starmer, in Gorton and Denton this week, Labour trying to cling on to that particular parliamentary seat. And he's got a huge set of elections come this May with English local elections and Scottish and Welsh Parliament elections. Given that there are questions at the moment over Keir Starmer's judgment, then I think, at the moment, and with his low polling rating, those elections look highly problematical at the moment for the Labour Party.
Good to talk to you, Professor. Many thanks indeed. Jonathan Tonge there in Manchester.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.